Ross, good evening. Few sights more spectacular in the EFL than Nottingham Forest on the opening day of the season. It is absolutely packed here at the City Ground. The air thick with heat and humidity, the weight of expectation as the season begins. Both sides expect a promotion challenge. Both have new men in the dugout. For Nottingham Forest, the engaging Frenchman Sabri Lamouchi, the club's 13th full-time boss in 8 years. Slaven Bilic, of course, a much more familiar name, in charge now at West Brom, but he's never managed at this level. The sun shines up ahead, barely an empty red seat here at the City Ground, southwest of the city centre, and there are an absolute throng of photographers down below us, training their long lenses up towards the two coaches. Slaven Bilic to the left, Sabri Lamouchi to the right. They've just met, they've just shaken hands for the first time. Standing in front of the photographers, Sabri Lamouchi, his arms folded, never managed in England before, and he stands in front of the dugout with the Forest crest in a little red and white mosaic just a few yards in front of him, and at the bottom of that Forest crest are two white stars that symbolise the European success this club has enjoyed in the past, out of the Premier League for 20 years, just like West Bromwich Albion. They hope this year is their year. And now the home fans hold up their red and white scarves, they sing and they sway, an ode to the City Ground here on the banks of the Trent. No mist on the banks of the Trent today, pure brilliant sunshine as the season just moments away for both these clubs. What, I wonder, lies ahead? You are with TalkSport 2, your home of the EFL already. This afternoon we've brought you two live commentaries. A busy day, of course, in the footballing calendar. Salford City getting underway with a victory against Stevenage. Birmingham winners at Brentford in the latter of those two matches. And now it's West Bromwich Albion who will kick us off here in their away strip. Canary yellow and green and yellow striped shirts, playing from right to left in the first half, and they kick us off towards the Trent end, which is the two-tiered home end here at the City Ground. Nottingham Forest playing from left to right towards the Bridgeford end, and already an opportunity for Grabban, but across comes Ferguson, the defender, and he sends it back to the goalkeeper Sam Johnston, and West Bromwich Albion can clear. Forest in red and white, the Garibaldi red, of course, deep red. The two coaches now on the edge of their technical areas. Slaven Bilic, his arms behind his back in a shirt and trousers. Sabri Lamouchi in trainers, more casually dressed. And we are underway here on your home of the EFL, TalkSport 2. Let me give the two sides. Forest with Muric in goal, Cash, Worrell, Dawson and Robinson, Watson and Semedo, Adoma, Thiago Silva and Lolly behind Lewis Grabban. West Bromwich Albion have Johnston in goal, Ferguson the 18-year-old, Bartley, Ajay and Gibbs the defence, Livermore and Sawyers holding, with Phillips, Kravinovic and Edwards behind Kenneth Zahor up front. And Forest have the ball on the far side of the field, and it's 0-0 inside the first couple of minutes. And an early touch for Lolly as he goes back to the halfway line where Dawson is waiting, and now into the centre circle, and a first touch for Thiago Silva, one of a number of signings at Nottingham Forest over the summer. Wide to Cash, early cross, flicked into the area by Adoma, and it's come all the way to the far post, and an opportunity for Robinson. A good tackle by Nathan Ferguson to get it away for West Brom. Forest have it on the far side, the left. Lolly, left with the edge of the area, tries a cross, it thunders off the chest of Ferguson, and out to play for a Forest throw on the far side, David Connolly.
Oh, it's a brilliant block, wasn't it, from the West Brom defender. Put his body on the line.
He is a youngster, Nathan Ferguson, had an excellent pre-season. This is his debut today, one of 5 debutants for West Brom. Throw from Robinson is long, good header clear by Carl Bartley at the heart of the West Bromwich Albion defence, and Watson with the shaven head will scoop it deep into the penalty area. Bartley's there again with a commanding header, and now Phillips jumping on the far side for West Brom, but it's Forest who still have it in their red and white, that familiar strip. Opportunity down the left-hand side for Semedo, the new signing, swings in a right-footed cross to the far post. Coming in at this near side was Matty Cash, who lofts it high to the edge of the 18-yard box now. Once again, West Bromwich Albion clear, but they're under siege in the early stages. Still the score 0-0 on this hot and humid late afternoon. Watson wearing number 8, lip of the centre circle. Over 2 minutes played now, and it's been all Nottingham Forest. What a big day for both clubs. New head coaches, new optimism, as Lonnie tries to cross from the left-hand side, well blocked off by Phillips in front of the 2,000 West Bromwich Albion supporters who are on their feet in the lower tier of the Bridgeford stand. And Phillips pings the ball downfield, well held up by Zahor, and Kravinovic was trying to dart in field, but he lost possession, and Nottingham Forest have it back. Energetic start, David Conley.
It is a really bright start here from the home team. I mean, Thiago Silva, whenever he gets it, he looks into the front, a lovely little ball round the corner into Lewis Grabham. They've been so bright here so far, the home side.
Forest, who finished 9th last season, 8 points off the playoffs. The playoffs, the minimum expectation this season for Sabri Lamucci, who's a very interesting character, speaks excellent English, really engaging. West Brom, of course, beaten in the playoff semi-finals last season by Aston Villa. Here's Thiago Silva, 30 yards out, central position, thought about shooting, eventually does shoot, it takes a big deflection and loops up high into the pink-clad goalkeeper Sam Johnston, who played every league game for West Bromwich Albion in goal last season.
Well, you can hear the fans here showing their appreciation for Thiago Silva. He looks like he's got the lot. Lovely ability on the ball, fake to shoot. Romain Sawyer's bored it, he just dragged the ball inside and maybe could have got a shot a little bit earlier. Just took a little bit too long and just allowed Sawyers to get back and get half a block on, but they've looked so bright so far.
In the 4th minute, and it's still 0-0. Earlier on in the Championship this afternoon, wins for Charlton, Sheffield Wednesday, Queen's Park Rangers, Swansea, Wigan, who beat Cardiff 3-2, Millwall, and there was a victory for Barnsley, 1-0 over Fulham. That in addition, of course, to the spectacular 3-3 draw at Kenilworth Road yesterday evening, live on Talk Sport.
Well, those results, I guess, encapsulate the Championship, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Already. I'll tell you what, it wasn't gone for long. It didn't feel like it. As Ajay caught in possession inside the area by Doma, but the assistant referee puts his flag up and a let-off for the West Bromwich Albion defender, who wins a free kick. Now Gibbs, the former Arsenal man, cutting in field on the halfway line. Back to Sawyers, tall and muscular. Angled high ball driven out to the far side, and it's headed clear by Robinson in front of the lower tier of the huge Brian Clough stand. And everywhere you look, so much colour in the stands today. Red shirts for the Forest supporters and a mix of blue and white and yellow and green for the West Bromwich Albion fans, who sold out their allocation of tickets in under 3 days. 2,000, as I say, here today, and West Brom playing in that change kit of canary yellow and green. Two big clubs. Forest haven't been in the Premier League since 1999. They are the oldest club in the EFL now, after Notts County's relegation last season. For West Bromwich Albion, the big talking points over the summer, David Connolly, with Nottingham Forest in possession midway inside their own half, was can Kenneth Zahor replace the goals of Rodriguez and Dwight Gale?
Well, that's right, obviously, and Rondon, so they had a plethora of forwards, really, and I mean, Zahor is not really a prolific goal scorer, we know that, so it's a big ask. He's powerful, he's strong, only 1 goal though in 20 Premier League games, but you think he feels a bit more comfortable in the Championship, but it's a tall order, it really is, to follow those two.
It remains 0-0 live on Talk Sport 2. Dawson clips the ball forward up towards the edge of the D, on the edge of the penalty area. Ajay, the former Rotherham man, heads clear, forward by Kravinovic for West Bromwich Albion, down the left touchline. Zahor with barrel shoulders and a big chest. He holds the ball up in front of Watson, who nicks it off his toes, and then it's hacked clear by Cash, high to the halfway line for Nottingham Forest.
Well, not for the first time. I think Forest have picked the pocket of some West Brom players. They've just looked a little bit slow to start here, the Baggies.
They have won a free kick midway inside Forest territory. Down the left is Edwards. He sets up Gibbs on the overlap. Gibbs with the first time cross, cut out by Dawson. Well defended by Dawson, so much experience, but Watson has given it away. It's come back to Kravinovic, who's on loan here at West Bromwich Albion. Plays a neat 1-2. Zahor on the edge of the area. Back to Edwards. Cuts inside. Shapes to shoot. He's got a wall of red and white in front of him. So West Brom go back to this near side the left, in front of the main stand. Still 0-0. Edwards, edge of the area, into Zahor, tries to flick it into the path of Gibbs, overhit though, and it's behind for a Nottingham Forest goal kick, 0-0.
Well, that's that quality when the ball goes into you as a forward front man. He came off short into the box. That first touch, I mean, he was trying to lay off, but it was far too heavy. It's got to be perfection in that sort of gap. Wasn't a room really to manoeuvre in. His hold-up play does need to improve. I saw that last night actually with Britis Ombolonga. You look for that sort of centre forward, do a bit of everything, get hold of the ball, bring others into play, and it's a real responsibility with that first touch.
Early touch for the new Nottingham Forest goalkeeper Ari Muric, who hacks the ball clear to the centre circle. Good touch by Thiago Silva, diminutive midfielder. Out wide to Robinson now on the far side. On to Lolly. Lolly darts towards the corner flag, tries to produce a cross. Good block by Ferguson, is stood tall in the way. And now Phillips trying to counter-attack for West Brom, but again they lose possession.
What was interesting there is every time Lolly's got the ball, he's tried to look one touch out of his feet and get the ball into the box. It's been a really impressive opening.
Oh, here goes Cash, 1-2 with Adoma. Cash shoots low, in! Cash has scored for Nottingham Forest. They take the lead. 8 minutes into the campaign. What a strike from Matty Cash, but it surprised the West Bromwich Albion goalkeeper Sam Johnston, who was beaten in his near post. He might be disappointed, but everywhere around me, Nottingham Forest fans in their red and white, dancing with glee, in delirium here. It's Nottingham Forest 1, West Bromwich Albion 0. Cash the scorer.
Well, it's been a fantastic start here from Forest. They've been on fire. Far the better side, superior all over the park. They move the ball so well, eventually get it out wide, ball comes back inside to Cash, flicks it up, takes one touch to set himself, and then he hammers it low at the near post. But you're right, Sam Johnstone will be disappointed. He's got down low, but he shouldn't be beaten from there. Certainly not at the near post. I think you should have seen that round the post. Poor goalkeeping error, I feel. But still, Forest thoroughly deserve that lead. They've been so much sharper than the away side.
So Cash scores and Nottingham Forest lead by a goal to nil, live on TalkSport 2. And what an enigmatic, energetic start from Sabri Lamucci's side, who are playing with great gusto and verve and excitement, fluid all through the thirds. Nottingham Forest so far, and Cash, who was prolific last season, 8 goals in all competitions, has played a lot of pre-season at right back, David Connolly, but already showing a good understanding with Adoma. And it was a snapshot that beat Johnston at his near post.
Yeah, it was. What's interesting is every time either they've got the ball wide or got it in and around the box, they've looked to do something productive, get a crossing, get a shot off, very attack-minded, playing forward on the front foot. Little Thiago Silva, whenever he gets it, he's always looking forward. Ben Watson here now, maybe last season guilty of playing too many square passes, but look, again, another forward pass from Dawson.
David Connolly alongside me, the former West Ham United, Sunderland and Southampton striker. Here is Watson wearing number 8 in the centre circle, elbows jutting out like a metronome in the middle of midfield. Watson just keeps things ticking over. West Brom have won it back, but Zahor looks isolated, surrounded by 3 in red, and Cash sends it back to the goalkeeper Muric.
Well, he is isolated, but it's that first touch again, so the ball came into him. He should have actually used his right foot, but he went with the outside of his left, because that's his stronger one. Just bounced off him again. He's got to get hold of the ball.
And Nottingham Forest have only lost once on the opening day in the last 8 seasons. They have started with a bang here under Sabri Lamucci, who was very vocal about the championship in pre-season, said it's a marathon league. He called it the worst league in the world in the sense of how tough it is. But his side already showing they are adept at this level, perhaps under his management. The season just over 10 minutes old, and Nottingham Forest lead West Bromwich Albion by a single goal to nil.
Well, just looking at West Brom here, the 2 units, the back forward and midfield forward, they're far too deep and close to each other. I mean, there's been compact, but to be honest, they're too compact, just allowing Forest too much space to play in front of them. Need to get out and go and press the ball a little bit more.
The City ground is full to the brim. A hive of energy and heat. Still, thick with it. Still the sun shines, and the Nottingham Forest fans in excellent voice all around us. 4 sides here of Nottingham Forest fans, and wedged in one corner the West Bromwich Albion supporters, who look rather glum, stood with their arms folded, many of them now. Here is Kravinovic, midway inside Forest territory, back to the lip of the centre circle, 1-2 involving Livermore and Phillips, and now Sawyers, signed from Brentford in the summer, on by Kravinovic towards Phillips, chests it down the edge of the D, little flick by Zahor, hooked away by Semedo over the halfway line. But West Brom have it back, and this is a better spell for Slaven Bilic's side.
Yeah, it is, but again the ball goes into Zahor and he loses it. Sometimes now you see him, he could receive it to feet, but he pulls on a diagonal. I don't think he quite trusts his touch.
Here is Zahor, edge of the area, back to Kravinovic. That's a good ball out wide to Ferguson. Ferguson crosses low, turned away by Robinson at the near post. The cross didn't beat the first man, and it's out of play for a throw-in right by the corner flag in between the Trent end and the Brian Clough stand.
Yeah, as you say, a little bit better than the Baggies. Moving the ball slightly sharper, but they were slow out the traps here. They really were guilty of having their pocket picked a few times.
West Brom in yellow and green with red numbers on the back of the shirts, which I must say It's hard to identify.
It is very hard. I mean, Ajay is that right-sided centre-half, but actually I think he's a better defensive midfielder. He's brilliant for Rotherham as a defensive midfielder, but he's now slotting in at the back. I know Higazi's obviously out.
Here comes Kravinovic with the dark hair, wide to Edwards, sprightly young player with blue boots. He knocks it back to the edge of the area in Sawyers. Plenty back for Nottingham Forest. In fact, 9 players in red behind the ball as Sawyers floats it right through the middle, and it's straight to the giant goalkeeper Muric, who's able to gather with total ease.
Yeah, disappointing. Their build-up play's been really poor, especially in around the box.
Harry Muric, one of 8 new faces through the door at the City Ground this summer. Manchester City goalkeeper, signing on loan for the season. 6'6" tall, slender, and still only 20 years of age. So a terrific opportunity for him this season. Well, I wonder. Maybe.
Genie, 6'6", wow.
They've got Costel Pantilimon on the books as well, Nottingham Forest, who's 6'7". So
yeah.
When it comes to the goalkeeping department, they're rather blessed with height, shall we say.
Or is that their recruitment strategy?
Well, look, I mean, they couldn't fit in this commentary box, that's for sure. The leg room isn't great. David and I of the slightly shorter variety. West Brom in possession then in the centre circle, trailing by a goal to 0, but they have seen more of the ball in the last few minutes or so. We haven't yet had 15 minutes on TalkSport 2. A fast start from Nottingham Forest, and they deservedly lead. Cash with the opening goal. Livermore, the skipper, with his muscular arms bulging out of his yellow and green shirt. Now an opportunity for Phillips, who's 10 yards from the edge of the area. Good ball wide to Edwards. Edwards takes a touch. He's got Gibbs on the overlap. Edwards twists, turns, shoots low, and it's in! It's through Harry Muric, and Edwards has equalised for West Bromwich Albion. It's a nightmare for the Nottingham Forest goalkeeper on his debut, but the City Ground in large part is silenced, and it's Nottingham Forest 1, West Bromwich Albion 1.
Well, it's another really poor goalkeeping error here. Harry Muric has got to hold this. When it's a good little bit of skill initially from Ferguson, just dances his way, fakes a shoot with his right foot, chops back in onto his left. But the actual effort was tame. It wasn't really that hard. It's fairly firm down low, but still he's just got to palm that away. A really poor goalkeeping mistake again.
But it's a nightmare for Harry Muric, right in front of the Trent end. And he's simply got to do better. As a goalkeeper, David Connolly, you've got to save that.
Well, we've seen 2. We saw one last night as well for Luton. The goalkeeper there just spilled an easy attempt. I mean, it's a good little bit of skill, but the effort wasn't that hard.
Carl Edwards with just his second league goal for West Bromwich Albion in front of the Trent end, and it's 1-1 on TalkSport 2. Graben trying to dart through the middle straight away. Out comes the goalkeeper Johnson to the edge of the area, and suddenly the momentum, the feel of the game has turned totally. The West Bromwich Albion fans on their feet, arms outstretched, singing proudly. And Edwards, who's looked a threat down the left-hand side, the goal scorer, coming forward again, right in front of us here on this near side. Swings in a deep cross to the far post. It's just over the head of Phillips. Slaven Bilic applauds as the ball goes behind for a goal kick, but more good attacking intent from West Bromwich Albion. 1-1.
Yeah, it's a brilliant ball in from Edwards again. He's looked really lively down on this left-hand side.
Well, David Connolly, he saw 6 goals yesterday. What price another 6 today? The way this game is going thus far. Cash having opened the scoring for Nottingham Forest, but now the match level. Lots of live football to come over the next couple of days, by the way, on TalkSport and TalkSport 2 tomorrow. The Community Shield live from Wembley with Mark Saggers. Manchester City against Liverpool. Bristol City against Leeds on TalkSport 2 as Graben is flagged offside for Nottingham Forest. And then on Monday we'll be in Huddersfield as Philip Koku takes charge of Derby for the first time. That's live on TalkSport 2. So plenty to get your teeth into on the first week of the EFL season. Your home of the EFL, TalkSport and TalkSport 2. 1-1 the score. Ball floated forward high to Zahor, who flicks it infield and into the path of Ben Watson for Nottingham Forest. So Zahor again careless in possession as the ball is cleared by a J for West Bromwich Albion. Out to the far side of the field, and Ferguson, who taps it forward into the path of Phillips. He wriggles his way into Forest territory, but again surrounded by red shirts like swarming bees. Nottingham Forest win the ball back, and Muric, the goalkeeper, has it. But a sense of equilibrium now about the game David Connolly, after that West Brom equaliser.
It certainly is. I mean, that was their first real attack, and finally they got the ball with a bit of quality in and around the box. I mean, Ferguson has looked lively out on this left-hand side. He's still a teenager, only 18.
The pace of the game has slowed somewhat. Nottingham Forest looking a little deflated after that equalising goal, and suddenly the crowd not as vocal as they once were. All around the edge of the pitch, photographers and cameramen, as Dawson drives the ball high downfield, and Cash will chase it on this right-hand side down the channel, but it's too long, and it's out of play for a goal kick. Lots of expectation, so much expectation for both sides, and really you have to say, the balance of play so far, given the way that West Bromwich Albion responded to going a goal down, 1-1 is about right. Opportunity for Ferguson to come forward on the far side, 18 years of age, one of 5 debutants in the West Brom side today. Slaven Bilic admits that his squad isn't quite complete, still work to do as far as the transfer window is concerned. They do have the likes of Hal Robson-Kanu, Ahmed Hegazi to come back from suspension and injury respectively, but still a feeling that maybe this West Brom squad needs a little more depth adding to it before the end of the window. Here is Livermore in the centre circle. Forest with all 11 players back behind the ball. Gibbs, the diminutive and slender left fullback. Infield to Livermore, back inside his own half, where a J plays it square to the right of centre. And now Livermore once again at the lip of the centre circle. And suddenly West Bromwich Albion having a lot of the ball, David Connolly.
Well, they are. Forest is just sitting off them a little bit too deep at the minute. That really encouraging opening start has sort of faded somewhat.
Here comes Edwards, crossing in low from the near side. It's cut out by Edwards, by Watson rather, at the near post for Nottingham Forest. And now an opportunity perhaps for the home side to counter-attack with Adoma, who is something of a championship specialist as Forest would have thrown in the left-back position. Former Aston Villa player, Albert Adoma, released by Robinson down the left-hand side. He's got Graben only in the middle. Adoma's cross, Graben far post, good flick away by Bartley at the heart of the West Bromwich Albion defence, because Graben was lurking and he's deadly from that sort of range. It's a Forest throw on this near side, 1-1.
Oh, it's nearly a fantastic cross. Adoma showed real pace to get to the byline. Lovely little dink cross to the back post. Looked like he was aimed for Graben. He just about put his head on it, and Barkley just flicked it away brilliantly.
Cash takes the throw for Forest, plays a 1-2 with Thiago Silva, but gives the ball away. Gibbs in the way for West Bromwich Albion. Listening to Nottingham Forest against West Bromwich Albion in the EFL on TalkSport 2 with Screwfix. For the latest offers, visit your local store or screwfix.com. Here when you need us. And it's once again with Kravinovic, the Croatian who joined West Brom on loan over the summer, former under-21 international, joined from Benfica on loan. Very vocal about his ambitions, says he wants to play in the national side, says he wants to play in the Premier League, but for now, all his focus on life with West Brom. He's an exciting young player, and a lot has been made of him over the summer, hasn't it, Filip Kravinovic?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. There's been a few talented displays so far. I think Thiago Silva's looked really bright for Forest as well. They just really haven't quite had the ball though the last 5-10 minutes. It's been a really good spell from West Brom.
Forest have won it back. There was a late challenge by Sawyers inside the centre circle on Dawson, but the referee allows play to continue. Good touch by Graben out to the left hand side, and Robinson now plenty forward in red and white for Nottingham Forest, with the score still level at 1 apiece. Live on TalkSport 2. We've had over a quarter of an hour now. In fact, more than 20 minutes have been played as Robinson tries to meander down the left hand side. Was he fouled? The referee eventually says free kick. Dangerous position for Forest here, just 5-10 yards or so from the corner of the 18-yard box.
Well, Dawson will be going up for this. Joe Royal will be going up for this. They've got good height here, Forest.
They certainly do. And Dawson, who hasn't scored for Nottingham Forest since his first spell with the club, which was a very long time ago, not scored for them since the 2004-2005 season. And Worrell also lurking in the 18-yard box with the long-sleeved red shirt and the white boots. In front of the Bridgeford end, this free kick, partly occupied by West Bromwich Albion supporters. 1-1 the score.
Well, there's two on the ball, isn't there? Silva, right-footed, might be an in-swinger or a lolly with his left.
Lolly was so impressive, wasn't he, last season for Nottingham Forest? In fact, he won the Player of the Year award at the club. Thiago Silva diminutive Portuguese. Welcome to TalkSport listeners as Thiago Silva swings it in and it's headed behind for a corner to Nottingham Forest on this near side. It's 1-1. Cash having opened the scoring for Nottingham Forest inside the first 10 minutes, but an equaliser from Carl Edwards for West Bromwich Albion. And the scores level. 2 goalkeeping errors, you'd have to say. Former West Ham United striker David Conley. We'll grab a word with David in just a few moments. But first, this corner for Nottingham Forest. Cash, the scorer, will take it at this near side of the field in front of the 2-tiered Bridgeford end. Plenty forward in red and white. He goes square and short to Thiago Silva. Silva whips it to the edge of the area. Watson heads it down. It takes a bounce and loops up into the gloves of the West Brom goalkeeper Sam Johnston.
Well, it was clever, taken short by Forest. Silva trying to pick out Ben Watson on the edge of the box. It was ambitious, sort of flying diving header, but didn't quite connect properly. Headed it down and easy save for Johnston in goal. But as you say, 2 really poor goalkeeping errors. We saw one last night, certainly with Sluga from Luton. I think we've seen 2 here today. Both keepers will be disappointed. They really will. Should have kept those shots out.
And midway through the first half on TalkSport and TalkSport 2, here come West Bromwich Albion. Phillips meandering from right to the middle of the pitch and finds Edwards, and now Gibbs left with the edge of the 18-yard box. Again, Forest with plenty of players back behind the ball. 2 new head coaches, of course, in action for the first time with their respective clubs on this hot and humid evening in Nottingham. Slaven Bilic for West Brom and Sabri Lamouchi, the former France international, in charge at Nottingham Forest. As a J, the former Rotherham defender for West Brom, scoops it forward to the halfway line. Good strong tackle by Robinson for Forest, and it's a West Brom throw in front of the Brian Clough stand.
That was a good tackle, wasn't it? But they're just a little bit too deep at the minute. Need to get up the pitch. You can see the back four now squeezing just in and around the circle.
West Bromwich Albion, who was so impressive on the road in the Championship last season, on the way to reaching the playoff semi-final. The ball's hit down the channel towards Kenneth Zahor. You're listening to TalkSport 2. Edwards infield, opportunity here for Gibbs into the penalty area, drives it low across the face of goal. Nobody's there though for West Bromwich Albion. Kieran Gibbs made some real headway and then steered it across the face of goal, but there was a lack of presence in the 6-yard area for the team in yellow and green.
Well, they've been really lively down on this left-hand side. Gibbs and Edwards interlinking brilliantly. Gibbs not afraid to go on the outside and overlap. Good little dummy, wasn't it there? The Forest defender went to ground, then just took a little nick off for a throw.
Which is taken back towards the halfway line where Sawyers is waiting, and Sawyers arcing the ball into the path of Carl Bartley, who's on halfway, the former Swansea City central defender, wearing number 5, a J alongside it, but he pushes it forward to Sawyers. He twists and turns and sends it into the feet of Matt Phillips, who's got 3 men around him again. Wide right is Ferguson, and again West Bromwich Albion with very little space to work with here. They've got to be ingenious and creative in that final third. Phillips with a deep cross, it's in! It's looped over the goalkeeper! It's a fluke from Matt Phillips, but it's West Bromwich Albion who lead. Again Muric cut out, 6'6", and he still couldn't reach it. Phillips from the right hand side, I'm sure it was intended as a cross, but it looped over the despairing goalkeeper and into the net in front of the Trent end. And with just over 25 minutes played, the match has completely turned on its head. It's Nottingham Forest 1, West Bromwich Albion 2.
Well, this is the fluke, no doubt, from Phillips. He wasn't aiming to score, just trying to put this ball into their area. Aim for the back post, but Muric caught all at sea. Far too far ahead, too close to his near post, couldn't quite backpedal, couldn't use all that 6'6" frame. Just looped over his head right into the far corner. What a turnaround this is here for the Baggies.
Well, can you believe it? Harry Muric, the Nottingham Forest goalkeeper, on loan from Manchester City, has hardly had a touch all game, and twice he's had to pick the ball out to the back of the net. Is that second one, do you call that a goalkeeping error? Should he do better, or is it just a flight of the ball? Because he stretched as high as he could. Anyway, here comes Graben down the left for Nottingham Forest as they look to get back level straight away, but the City ground is shell-shocked here as Graben takes a throw back to Semedo with the bright lime green boots. He whips the ball square to Cash on the near side. On to Lolly now. Lolly has switched wings and has moved out to this right-hand channel. He plays the ball back in field to Semedo. Goalkeeping error, David Connolly?
I think so. I mean, I'm not too sure he's his feet move quickly enough for me. I know he might be tall, but his footwork's got to be better. Back pedal, see that ball much earlier. Look, it did just drop in at the far post, but still, he's right under the bar. Should have used all his frame, and he's got to move his feet quicker.
Bright sunshine, 2-1 to West Brom as the cross is floated in from the right by Lolly, but it's too long for Adoma, who couldn't stretch his neck muscles enough to reach it, and it goes behind for a West Brom goal kick. And suddenly those West Bromwich Albion supporters once again jumping up and down, their arms above their heads in full voice here, and Sabri Lamucci, having stood just a few moments ago, hands on hips, walks back to the dugout and speaks to one of his assistants, and then paces up towards the edge of his technical area. But it's Slaven Bilic's side who are in front. West Brom have turned things around, and Forest have to work hard to kind of find that energy and that enthusiasm that they were playing with in the first 10 minutes, because it's gone missing.
It has, it's dissipated, it really has. I mean, they started so well, so bright. Obviously West Brom have grown into this game. I think the 2 goals are really disappointing, certainly from a Forest perspective. The keeper's got to do better.
They've lost the ball again here, Nottingham Forest, and it's West Brom on the counter-attack. Phillips is steaming forward as he passed Watson. Watson slid in, Phillips went down, and then Worrell came in to nip it off the toes of the West Bromwich Albion winger. Referee says play on. Semedo down the left for Nottingham Forest. He's got Adoma in support on that far side of the field. He cuts in field away from the sliding tackle of Ferguson, plays it square to Thiago Silva. He's got a very spiky, neat haircut. Now Lolly, left-hand side, 1-2 with Thiago Silva, onto his left foot, and he blazes it over the bar, and it goes behind for a goal kick.
Well, they've just switched wings at the minute. Adoma now playing out on the left and Lolly out on the right, so he's always looking to come inside. Little give and go with Silva. You could see he's just trying to get his shot off. It's a decent strike, but went over the bar. You can see how they're playing out now with this new rule. The 2 West Brom centre-halves inside their own box. Forest not going to press it, letting them have it there.
Yes, that was one of a number of rule changes to the laws the game applied over the summer. Both Bartley and Ajay dropping into basically the edge of the 6-yard box to receive the ball from goalkeeper Johnston. Here comes Kravinovic down the left-hand side, looks for Gibbs. He lets it run to the feet of Edwards. He scored the equalising goal for West Brom. And then just a few minutes ago, Phillips with a fluke, a looping cross beyond the goalkeeper and into the net. You're with TalkSport 2, your home of the EFL, along with TalkSport, as West Bromwich Albion win a free kick, dead centre, 40 yards from goal. Remember, the live football just keeps on coming. Half an hour gone here with West Brom leading by 2-1. Tomorrow we're at Wembley for the Community Shield. Manchester City against Liverpool, Bristol City against Leeds. That's a 4:30 kick-off on TalkSport 2. And then on Monday night, Huddersfield against Derby County, again live here on TalkSport 2.
Well, to me, I mean, you can see the goalkeeper Muric shaking his head. I know what it's like when I've missed a chance. When you're a goalkeeper, it's even worse. One mistake and it costs your team. He's made 2, to be honest. Well, this strike from Edwards, it was straight at him, really. It's basically gone through his hands. And then the second one, to me, just doesn't move his feet quickly enough.
I'd say this free kick, it's 35 yards out, but it is dead central. They're going to touch it wide to Phillips, who drives it low, thinking about going for goal, but he skews it horribly and he drags it well wide, and it's a goal kick. But you can see that they're targeting the goalkeeper here.
Absolutely, just any chance, get your shot off. The only thing I'd say, through on the ball, they don't really set it up properly. It's a really poor pass. But yeah, any attempt, just try and hit the target.
And Slaven Bilic is in that familiar position where he's bent double, looking forward, looking almost agonised. He's a very enigmatic character, much like Sabri Lamucci, but he was full of great quotes in the pre-match build-up. Slaven Bilic, he says it's not going to be boring, that's for sure. He's called on his players to play every match like it's the last one of their careers. Here come Forest down the right-hand side after West Brom give it away. Lolly into the penalty area, onto his left foot, just lost control. He was surrounded by 3 in yellow and green. And West Brom can counter-attack now with Edwards, finding Phillips. Lots of space here for Phillips to charge into. Livermore inside the centre circle has now got Phillips to the right. Instead he plays in Ferguson. Ferguson, the 18-year-old, looks up, crosses in, blocked by Robinson, and it will go behind, spiral away for a West Brom throw right by the corner flag. They lead by 2-1, just over half an hour played, and they are in complete control live on TalkSport 2, David Conley.
Yeah, they are. The game's just opening out somewhat. West Brom on the attack there. As they broke Forest, very slow to get back, weren't they?
The heat is having some sort of impact. The air is humid and it's really thick with heat.
Well, they started brightly, didn't they? They started really brightly, a bit like the sun, but it's faded as well. A bit like that too. He's gone behind the stand.
Make a commentator out of you,
yeah, exactly.
No wind from the River Trent, which is just yards away. I can almost see it between the Trent end, just to the left-hand side of the main stand, which is where we're sat.
I don't really know, though, why he's changed his wingers over, because to me it was working quite well, certainly in the opening period, with Lolly down the left and Adoma out this side on the right.
Maybe he's still finding his best team, Sabri Lamucci. Nottingham Forest have got a squad of over 30 players, and the manager admits that, the head coach rather admits that needs trimming. 2-1 to West Brom. Here is Cash, just over halfway, treads back into his own half. Under pressure here from Edwards, is forcing Cash further back and forcing him to send it back to his goalkeeper. Applause from the West Bromwich Albion supporters. Little flick by Thiago Silva, wide by Semedo. Now then, Adoma carries the ball forward towards the edge of the area, sliding in is Ferguson. That's a terrific tackle from the youngster, but he's given it away. And then Adoma goes down on the edge of the box. Referee says no penalty. And Zahor for West Bromwich Albion turns away from Dawson in the centre circle. There's a real vigour about the game now, and the challenges are starting to fly in. Championship football, the first weekend, of course, of the season, live on TalkSport 2. Forest trail, and slightly, I have to say, lacking ideas at the moment, Sabri Lamucci's side.
Yeah, they are. That was better, though, from West Brom. Zahor, that time holding the ball up, laying it off, but it's Livermore just passes it straight out of play. Bilic with his head in his hands. Such a simple pass. How can you get that wrong? But maybe they'll line out a few of these weaknesses and misplaced passes. It's still only the first game.
And it's certainly a much changed lineup, not just off the field for both clubs, but on it as well. West Brom, after their playoff run last season, losing Rodriguez, losing Dwight Gale, Harvey Barnes as well. They lost midway through last season and started so well. When you take out the goals that those three players scored, you get over 50 goals last year for West Bromwich Albion in all competitions, and it's a test of Bilic's ability to replace those goals. And so far, at least, what are we? Just under 35 minutes played on the opening Saturday. It's going well for it.
It certainly is. They are under pressure, though, because if they don't get up this season, I think the parachute payments are only about 15 million next season. So suddenly, it's vastly different. Can they use those payments, get a few more players in?
Here comes Phillips cutting in field, then checks back and has Ferguson just 5 yards or so to his right. West Bromwich Albion in total control here, almost at walking pace. Krovinovic just drops back deep, a very positionally aware and intelligent footballer, Krovinovic. He looks an agile, creative sort of type. He's always calling for the ball, he's directing his teammates on and off the field, and there's a confidence about West Bromwich Albion now, after the hectic opening in which they conceded, and now the bright sunshine returns, and it's a lovely sultry evening in southwest Nottingham.
Well, they've got some really good football players in there, West Brom, the likes of Sawyers and Livermore, so comfortable on the ball.
10 minutes of the first half remaining. West Bromwich Albion goalkeeper Johnston has it in bright pink as he pings the ball across field to Gibbs on this near side. Gibbs crosses the halfway line. 2-1 to West Brom. Wide open up here for Gibbs. He's got Edwards in support down the left. Edwards hugging the touchline in the shadow of the Trent end. He's got Cash in front of him for company. Back he goes instead to Krovinovic. Krovinovic curls one goalwards and wide of goal. So still 2-1 to West Bromwich Albion on TalkSport 2, and we take you to Edgbaston and Guy Swindles.
Bad light has stopped play. We could have finished for the day, actually, with the score in Australia's favour in the second innings of 124 for 3. Smith 46 not out, Head 21 not out. That's an Australian lead of 34 with the covers coming on.
Guy, thank you very much indeed. You're listening to Nottingham Forest against West Bromwich Albion in the EFL on TalkSport 2 with Screwfix, proud partners of the EFL, here when you need us. And here's the former West Ham, Sunderland and Southampton striker, prolific in the EFL, David Connolly.
Well, just looking at, Lamucci's quite prolific because he's changed his wingers again. I mean, basically now Lolly's gone back to the left, Adoma back to the right as they started. I just wondered, maybe they should have just kept it as it was, because it was working all right. Sometimes if it's not broke, don't fix it.
And he's not happy, is he, Lamucci? He spent the entire match watching from the edge of his red-floored technical area, and now he stands with his hands by his side and he groans as Forest give it away yet again, and West Brom clear through Gibbs. Not a good clearance though, arced out to the far side of the field, the Forest left, and here is Robinson He's led by the edge of the area. Back to Lolly in the sunshine. Square for Thiago Silva. Faced by a wall of men in yellow and green. He whips it up into the air and finds Cash, who sends in a high hanging cross. It drops to the far post, all the way to the far side now, and Robinson. Infield it goes to Semedo. Is he being held there by Livermore? The referee has a look at it. Referee allows play to go on. Still, Robinson for Forest, drags it in low. Oh, it almost reached Adoma. Good interception by Ajay, who hammers it into touch. But the Forest fans upset. They feel that they should have had, well, it would have been on just, I think it would have been inside the penalty area, so we should have had a penalty there.
Well, it was a tug, wasn't it? It certainly looked that way on Semedo. The referee had a good look, waved it away. Fans not happy down in England.
It's just about on the line. Livermore was dicing with danger there. Here come Nottingham Forest with Adoma now, down the right-hand side, pulls it back into the area for Cash, who drags it across the face of goal. I think he was trying to smack it goalwards there, Cash, but he got it wrong, and it ends up siding away to the far side, and in fact, out of play for a West Brom throw.
Well, it's better though, isn't it? With that natural width, I think they look far more comfortable with Adoma out on this right-hand side, and Cash then joining in. So Adoma went on the outside, Cash the fullback then drove inside, lovely little peck out from Adoma, got to the byline, cut it back to Cash, just put a little bit too much whip on that strike. Well, it actually went out for a throw on, but that was better.
Less than 7 minutes of the first half remaining. Nottingham Forest 1, West Bromwich Albion 2. More managerial upheaval at Nottingham Forest in the summer. Aitor Karanka left midway through last season, then Martin O'Neill, who is a club legend by any definition at Nottingham Forest, came in, but only won 8 of 19 matches. Sabri Lamucci, the new head coach, but it's Slaven Bilic celebrating his first game in charge as West Bromwich Albion head coach, who will be the happier of the two so far. Cash for Forest, midway inside the West Bromwich Albion half, sends it square in infield for Thiago Silva, who pivots, turns, doesn't look like he knows where he wants to go, and he's tackled by Livermore. And now Kravinovic, it's 3 against 4, but West Brom coming forward at good pace here. Kravinovic has got Gibbs down the left, and he plays it left to the full-back, and Gibbs is in field, he's into the penalty area, and then Watson comes across to nick it off his toes, and it's a West Brom throw by the corner flag.
Oh, I just wonder, maybe he could have released the ball there. Kravinovic took too long. Zahor just wanted it released in behind. Just give it to him, let him run away. Instead he delayed. By that point he was offside. In the end found Gibbs. They have to defend a little bit better here, Forest. Matty Cash diving in, Gibbs just then jinking inside. A couple of schoolboy errors here from Forest.
And they do have a throw, West Brom here, which is taken by Gibbs, short and square to Edwards. He's looked so lively throughout. He slides in hard on Thiago Silva, but Semedo's there to the loose ball. Tall, rangy, lanky almost. Semedo charging forward. He plays it to the left, and Robinson has got options in field. Lolly out wide to Semedo, who shoots, and he fires it high into the lower tier of the Bridgeford end.
No, I don't think that's his strength there, Semedo. He's at a really acute angle, out wide on the left-hand side of the box. Takes one touch, he's sort of under him, goes for power, blazes it over the bar.
And suddenly there are Nottingham Forest fans around us who were so vocal pre-match and vocal throughout the first 10 minutes, who are leaving their empty seats as they head to the half-time refreshment areas. You can hear the clattering of plastic.
Well, you can see West Brom are using the new rule, aren't they, with the 2 centre-halves dropping inside the box. Forest haven't really used that so far.
As Livermore feeds the ball forward towards Zahor, when intercepted by Watson, who has tried to find Thiago Silva, but again Livermore is in the way.
Well, Silva's got to hold on to the ball, look after it better. He was so bright, wasn't he, in the opening stages, but he's faded badly. Keep hold of the ball.
Here goes Edwards again, hugging the left-hand touchline. Back it goes to Gibbs. He's midway inside Nottingham Forest territory. 2-1 to West Bromwich Albion. Sawyers pokes it down the left again for Gibbs. He pulls it back to Sawyers. Oh, good interception by Adoma, because Sawyers would have been in there. It was terrific football in close quarters from West Bromwich Albion. And again, Nottingham Forest looking rather passive in the defensive third. It's West Brom who are playing the better stuff, and they still lead by 2-1, and now Edwards is down inside the Forest half.
Well, it's good play there, Sawyers. You can tell what he's trying to do. You want to use the outside of his right foot just to bend the ball into the box. Gives him a really good run. Try to reverse pass back to him, but Adoma tracked the run ever so well. A little bit of a drinks break here now. With Edwards down.
The 2 sets of players come across to the near side of the field. Forest in the Garibaldi red and white, and West Bromwich Albion in the canary yellow and green, so drinks being taken on, fluids being taken on. It's still so hot here down by the Trent. And let me just remind you of what we've got coming up across the TalkSport network over the next couple of days. Tomorrow at Wembley for the Community Shield, Manchester City against Liverpool, live on TalkSport. It's a 3 o'clock kick-off. At 4:30, Bristol City against Leeds is live on TalkSport 2 with Nigel Adley and Sean Derry. And then on Monday night, Ian Danter and Matt Murray will talk you through Huddersfield against Derby County. Again, that one is live for you here on your home of the EFL, TalkSport 2. Drinks break is over and we'll get back underway in just a few moments, David Connolly.
I can see Lamucci there talking to Grabham. I just wonder though, he might need to talk to some of those players in and around him just to get close to him, set them in it. Silver's a little bit detached, not quite close enough, so he's very isolated, Lewis Grabham. Needs a bit of help close to him.
Had another prolific season last year, Lewis Grabham, 17 goals for the club in all competitions. Of course, he's been promoted to the Championship before with Norwich in 2015. You are listening to Nottingham Forest 1, West Bromwich Albion 2 in the EFL on TalkSport 2 with Screwfix, proud partners of the EFL, here when you need us. Here is Bartley, muscles bulging out of his shirt. He's a formidable physical figure, Carl Bartley, classic central defender, 6'4", as Krovinovic drops into the Nottingham Forest half and into his own half rather, and sends it back to his goalkeeper Johnson. What have you made of the young Croatian so far, David Codley? Because a lot has been talked about in terms of his potential.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's been bright, he's been lively, but to me, the Baggies' best player has been Sawyers. He's been here, there and everywhere, as he was for Brentford. Just knits it, he's so comfortable on the ball. Look at that one little touch round the corner, just gets his team out of trouble. So bright. He's almost playing on the next page. You can see him, look, he's not in possession now, he's in the middle of the circle, but he's always looking over his shoulder, just in case the pass comes to him. Where am I going next? I think he's been a great signing. Can't believe no one in the Premier League took him, I really can't.
A touch over a minute of the first half remaining, a minute of normal time that is. It's Nottingham Forest 1, West Bromwich Albion 2, here on TalkSport 2. Again, West Brom in possession. The noise levels, certainly from the home supporters, have plummeted. The atmosphere from feverish and frenetic to downright flat at the moment in the home sections, and everywhere you look there are Forest fans in their little pockets who are getting up and leaving their red seats and walking to the half-time refreshment areas. It's the West Bromwich Albion fans who are singing proudly here as their team come forward down the left-hand side. Edwards lays it down the left-hand channel for Zahor, the number 9. In fact, it's Phillips who's got it. Left-hand edge of the area, twisting, turning onto his right foot. Finds Sawyers. Again, Gibbs on the overlap, but he leaves it for Phillips. Zahor lurking in the middle of the far post. Phillips reaches the byline, digs that across. It takes a deflection to the near post. There'll be 2 added minutes. West Brom has still got it in the area. Livermore has lost possession, and Dawson has cleared away to the near side. So into 2 minutes of first half stoppage time. And still, West Brom the dominant force. They've got it right in front of their head coach, Slaven Bilic, who again bends double and then stands up, his hands on his hips. He's so interesting to watch, Bilic. He lives and breathes every kick of every football match he's in charge of, and Forest just can't get the ball forward here.
I think that's what they want, don't they, the Baggies fans, certainly people in charge, someone who's energetic, enthusiastic, passionate. You can tell he's a charmer, tactile, he's always got his hands around his players, and you can tell he wants to make them feel good.
Dawson now for Nottingham Forest with the white boots. Time rapidly running out. The pace has completely gone from Forest's approach to this match. They're ponderous and leaden-footed all of a sudden. And a packed City ground on the opening Saturday of the season. Already wins for the likes of Charlton, Sheffield Wednesday, QPR and Millwall. Here's Grabham trying to get away from Bartley in the penalty area. The assistant referee raises his flag, and West Brom have a free kick. Elsewhere in the Championship, mentioned those wins for those clubs. Swansea winners today, Wigan beat Cardiff, Barnsley beat Millwall. In League One, crisis club Bolton beaten at Wycombe Wanderers. And earlier on TalkSport 2, we brought you Salford 2, Stevenage 0, Salford's first game in the EFL, and Brentford beaten at home by Birmingham, somewhat surprisingly. So there have been shocks already, Dave, in the EFL.
Well, there has, yes, I guess. However, that's the Championship encapsulated. So hard to predict. That's why we love it.
Absolutely. And Sabi Lamucci has said it's the worst league in the world, and that is a compliment. That is a compliment, believe it or not, to the quality. We've had nearly the 2 minutes of stoppage time at the end of the first half. In fact, we've Had the whistle a little early from the referee Darren England, but Nottingham Forest trail by 2-1 at half-time against West Bromwich Albion. So much expectation at the City Ground before kick-off. Of course, it's been 20 years since Forest were in the Premier League, and expectations high under new head coach Sabri Lamucci, but West Brom have an experienced operator too in Slaven Bilic, and his side recovered from conceding early on to Matty Cash. They went straight up the other end and equalised through Carl Edwards. An error from the Forest goalkeeper Ari Muric, who was caught out again after 26 minutes. Matt Phillips with a cross on the right hand side, and it looped despairingly over the goalkeeper and into the net. So at the break, live on TalkSport 2, it's advantage West Brom. It's Nottingham Forest 1, West Bromwich Albion 2. Russ, thank you. Back underway at the start of the second period. Nottingham Forest playing from right to left towards the Trent end in the second half in red and white, and West Bromwich Albion in yellow and green playing from left to right, shooting towards the Bridgeford end. All around me, people returning to their red seats for the start of the second period. Let me just remind you of the two sides. No changes at the break. Forest with Muric in goal, Cash, Worrell, Dawson and Robinson, Watson and Semedo, Adoma, Thiago Silva and Lolly behind Graben. For West Brom, Johnston the goalkeeper, Ferguson, Bartley, Ajay and Gibbs, Livermore and Sawyers, Phillips, Kravinovic, Edwards behind Zahor up front. There are a number of new signings on the substitutes benches as well for both teams. Here is Graben down the left-hand side for Nottingham Forest, out-muscled though by Ajay, and it's out of play for a West Bromwich Albion goal kick. It's TalkSport 2, Nottingham Forest 1, West Bromwich Albion 2, and a game so far, David Connolly, the former Southampton, Sunderland, West Ham United striker, packed with goalkeeping errors.
It is, yeah, there's been a couple, isn't there? I think both keepers will be really disappointed with the efforts that they've let in, but you know, just got to put it behind him. But you can still see Muric shaking his head, especially with that Phillips fluke.
Well, here comes
I just
Phillips.
wonder as well, sorry John, you know, did he feel that he was maybe dropping over the bar? He certainly didn't backpedal quickly enough, I feel, and maybe he just felt that he was actually sailing over. I think he got it all wrong.
He was leaden-footed, wasn't he? Feet just wedged to the ground. Big goalkeeper, tall, 6'6", lots of wingspan, but even he couldn't reach it, and it's that Phillips fluke that has West Bromwich Albion in front on TalkSport 2, your home of the EFL. We're less than 2 minutes into the second period. Here's Thiago Silva, the Benfica loanee for Nottingham Forest, spraying the ball wide to the far side, the right, and Adoma, long legs, cuts in field. Adoma, who has had success in this division twice before, promoted with Aston Villa last season and Middlesbrough a few years back. Now Lolly, left-hand side, in front of the two-tiered Trent end. He tries to swing it across. It goes behind off Ferguson, and it's a Nottingham Forest corner.
Oh, really good defending there from Ferguson. Got tight enough just to block that cross. They've defended ever so well as a unit. The Baggies ringers working ever so hard out of possession.
Just the second corner of the match so far. Both have gone to Nottingham Forest, and it's an opportunity for Dawson and Worrell, the central defenders, to come forward. Thiago Silva over the ball, diminutive, whips it high to the far post. Worrell was climbing, good header clear by Bartley. Comes out towards Cash. Kravinovic there has beaten him to it. It's 2 against 2. Kravinovic darting forward into Forest territory. He's got Edwards to his right. Kravinovic goes alone, and then it's cleared by Robinson. Good tackling back in the area as well from Matty Cash. West Brom have still got it down the far side, the left, as the cross is swung in. Out comes the goalkeeper, headed clear by Worrell. And Forest were living on their nerves there for just a few moments. Gibbs, left-hand side for West Brom. Another high, hanging cross. Phillips with the header. Not enough power behind it. And Muric in all blue, able to gather one or two ironic cheers as he does so.
Wow, that's a really good break. West Brom, I think Kravinovic could have released the ball a little bit too early, a little bit early, I should say. Delayed, and actually opportunity was missed. I just wondered, was it a foul from Matty Cash? He almost hauled Kravinovic to the ground.
Well, let off for Sabri Lamucci's side. Two new head coaches, of course. Lamucci, the new Nottingham Forest boss, the 13th manager / head coach that they've appointed in 8 years. No continuity, no stability whatsoever. And Slaven Bilic at West Brom, a figure that we know much more about, of course, in England, but he's never managed before in the Championship.
I think that was probably the one question mark, wasn't it, Joe, about
That's
him?
it, yeah.
He's certainly got the persona and charisma.
Because it's a totally different division to the Premier League, isn't it?
It is, but I guess maybe the likes of Daniel Farke have changed that in terms of who people go for. You might not know the league, but you'll learn it.
It's true. Such success with Norwich City last season. As Phillips, Livermore rather, goes back to his goalkeeper Johnston, all in pink, and Johnston flicks it out to the near side, and Ferguson cushions his header neatly in field. Semedo thought he'd won it back, but he's given it away inadvertently, the 21-year-old, the leggy midfielder, another new signing on loan from Benfica. And his performance rather typifies Nottingham Forest's display thus far. Started well, but has since faded, and now here's Edwards down the left for West Brom in front of the away end. He tries to play it square towards Kravinovic, intercepted, comes out to Phillips, his 25 yards from goal at a slight angle, darts into the area and shoots, and it's arced into the lower tier of the Bridgeford end where those away fans are located. 5 minutes into the second half on TalkSport 2, it's still Nottingham Forest 1, West Bromwich Albion 2, and here's David Connolly.
Well, the two West Brom wingers have been really lively. Edwards that time out on the left hand side, ducking inside. As soon as he goes inside, that's a trigger for Kieran Gibbs to go on the outside. He didn't use him. Ball eventually landed up on the right hand side. Matty Phillips, if he can keep that down, I'm sure Billitt's just saying, look, just test the keeper, at least get it on target. The worst thing he can do is hit it over the bar.
The subs warming up down below us under cloudy skies now here on the banks of the Trent. It's a little cooler than it was. For Forest, by the way, among their subs, Ribeiro, another new signing from Benfica, Rafa Mir, who's joined on loan from Wolves, Sami Amiobi as well. West Brom have Darnell Furlong among their substitutes. He was brought in from QPR over the summer. Oliver Burke is a familiar name to Forest fans. He started his career here before moving to RB Leipzig.
Well, you can just see how Suarez just gets them moving. I mean, as the ball plays on the right hand side, the two centre half split, he drops in between them, just gets them moving.
Here come Forest though. Good ball by Semedo down the left towards Lolly. Lolly shapes the cut in field. He's down towards the byline. He swings in a deep cross to the far post. Up goes Gibbs and he heads it behind under no pressure whatsoever. And it's another Nottingham Forest corner on that far side of the field. But key to their hopes of getting back into the game, Sabri Lamucci's side, trailing as they do by 2-1. They've got to test Sam Johnston more than they did in the opening half.
Yeah, you're right. It's a real good battle though out on this left hand side. Joe Lolly up against Nathan Ferguson, going toe to toe. He's just getting really tight, Ferguson. He's done well so far.
A round of applause for Lolly as he goes across to take the corner in front of the Trent end, swings it into the near post, headed away. Adoma was there, but it was rather rattled towards him, and West Brom clear, and now they look to counter-attack down the left-hand side. Cross comes Robinson for Nottingham Forest, and he hooks it out of play for a West Brom throw. And even Zahor now, the central striker who has such a big job this season, Kenneth Zahor, replacing those goals that they have lost from last season, Rodriguez and Gale, 46 between them last year. Even Zahor now looks a fluid part of this unit, doesn't he?
Well, that's when he's at his best. You know, just knock the ball over the top, just let him run onto it. He's so big and powerful, athletic. I think earlier in the first half maybe could have had the pass come a little bit quicker.
Plenty of live football to come over the next couple of days here across the TalkSport network with the season underway. Tomorrow we'll be at Wembley for the Community Shield. Mark Saggers presents coverage of Manchester City against Liverpool. The 4:30 kick-off in the Championship sees Bristol City play Leeds. That's a cracker, and it's live on TalkSport 2. And then on Monday night, live on TalkSport 2 again, Huddersfield play Derby as Worrell pops the ball out of play for a West Brom throw under token pressure from Phillips, and the visitors in control here.
Well, you're right, it was token pressure. Maybe Worrell could have done something a little bit more there. They are losing, they're the home side. Just take it down, try and find your way, get out of trouble. Took the easy option, just knocked it out for a throw.
Some spectators very late for the start of the second half. We're already 8 minutes into it, emerging from the bottom of the main stand, which is where we are. Lots of pillars in the way and a low slung roof and gantry as well. Something of a throwback in places, the City Ground, but it's still a terrific stadium with plenty of atmosphere. 20,000 season ticket holders, but the vast majority unhappy. Another loose pass out of play, which Robinson couldn't keep in, and it's another West Brom throw, and people out of their seats in frustration.
Well, they are. I mean, it was a poor pass back to him from Ben Watson, came up sort of in and around his hip high, he couldn't really control it, bounced off him, he's gone out for another throw. They just can't get hold of the ball at the minute, Forest.
It's packed to capacity here, barely an empty red seat to be had, but it's the West Brom fans, 2,000 of them, who are making most of the noise. Kravinovic out on the far side, in front of the Brian Clough stand. Back to Livermore, who steers it into the path of Bartley. He's midway inside his own half, and West Brom under no pressure whatsoever at the moment. Edwards is at walking pace as he's sent the ball over the halfway line to Kravinovic, and Edwards then darts forward at great pace down the left-hand side, gets it from Kravinovic, plays it in. It's a terrific ball. Zahor couldn't reach it. Worrell was facing his own goal, thought better of trying to make contact, and now it's back out to the right-hand side with Phillips for West Bromwich Albion. Less than 10 minutes played in the second half. 2-1 to the visitors, who won 11 away league games last season. Only Norwich with 12 won more. Phillips, though, is miscontrolled, and it's a Forest throw in their left-back position.
Now, look, if we could take a photo of this and show everyone, you've got the whole Forest team, basically all 10 of them within 20 yards of each other, and you've got Lewis Grabban completely isolated about 20 yards further ahead. They need to get players much, much closer to him, especially when they're out of possession. So even if they did win it, they're not going to find him, and if they do, it's just going to come straight back.
Well, surely Sabri Lamouchi is thinking about changes here. He said before the match it's a marathon league, and he's learning for real just how difficult it is. He has watched countless championship games in preparation, the former France international, so he says. Slightly out of kilter when he was appointed, because he hadn't managed anywhere since December when he was sacked as Rennes manager. And hands on hips, edge of his technical area, the weight of expectation coming at him from all four sides of the City ground. West Brom lead 2-1 as Forest win a free kick on the halfway line. What do they need to do to get back into the game?
They need far more energy than they're showing. Look, their care on the ball. Another misplaced pass. Joe Worrell that time with an ambitious diagonal. Just keep it simple. Really concentrate on doing the simple things well.
Here goes Cash with a simple pass to the right-hand side, and Lolly, who looks to cut in field onto that favoured left foot. He drags it across the near post. Grabban going in with the goalkeeper, but Johnston was very quick off his line. And the former Manchester United trainee there to snap up the loose ball. He was excellent last season. Sam Johnston played every league game for West Brom, including the playoffs. Of course, they reached the playoff semi-finals last year. Forest, meanwhile, finished 9th, 8 points off the playoff places.
Well, look at that. One simple throw from Johnston just killed about 5 Forest players.
As Livermore plays it back to Kravinovic on the edge of the area. Now Phillips, who's got it from Zahor, turns back onto his left foot here, the Scotsman. Plays it square again into the feet of Gibbs this time. Wide left is Edwards. It's a packed penalty area. Edwards drives in a high cross to the far post. It's overhit and behind for a goal kick. And there's just a lugubriousness about the Forest performance. The game is passing them by. West Bromwich Albion so comfortable as the away side, and all of the atmosphere and the excitement of pre-match, and certainly in the first 10 minutes from a Nottingham Forest perspective, has just completely dissolved away here.
Well, I mean, I can understand why, because that all started with the goalkeeper there, for example. Sam Johnston's got the ball and he's just looked up and he's realised, if I throw this, I can actually bypass about 5 Forest players, and that's exactly what he did. Just one simple throw and then bang, they're at the Forest back 4. Got to do better.
How hard is it, though, to step up from pre-season to competitive football? Because you get all your prep in, yes, of course, but it's a gear change, isn't it?
Well, let's just hope they haven't left their legs on the training ground. I know Lamouchi is learning, but that's how it appears here.
And he's getting some words of encouragement from one of his assistants down below us here, Sabri Lamouchi. Still his hands behind his back in his blue t-shirt and trainers. Slaven Bilic is just as enigmatic and expressive on the near side touchline, the West Bromwich Albion head coach, but his side look far more organised and adept at the moment as the ball is floated out to the right, headed forward by Edwards for West Brom, but he's flicked it straight into the path of Michael Dawson midway inside his own half, and Forest can effectively start and build again. Grabban is drifting back into his own half of the field. No atmosphere, no pace from Forest whatsoever.
Well, look
still
at that.
They trail.
That pass, as you say, no pace. That pass from Dawson all the way across the Worrell was so slow, nearly intercepted. Got to move it much, much quicker. I think they need to make a change.
Maybe the heat of earlier is stifling their play. As again, the West Bromwich Albion supporters cheering behind the goal to the right. Forest attacking the Trent end away to the left as Robinson tries to prod a Doma in down the left-hand side, but he's stood up well there, the right-back Ferguson. Just 18 years of age, lest we forget. Already looks quite a stocky, combative sort of player. It's not like he's got much growing up to do on this evidence. He's been very mature, disciplined in that right full-back position.
He's had an excellent game, he really has. Good battle out with Lolly, who's a terrific winger. He really is, probably one of the best in the Championship, so he's done ever so well today. As you say, quite strong, stocky, quick, likes to get tight. He's had an excellent game here so far.
Nearly an hour gone, and still West Brom lead by 2-1. A listless opening to the second half from Nottingham Forest thus far. Play has been stopped momentarily because Ferguson was caught. West Brom have a free kick 10 yards shy of halfway, and I'm sure we'll see a change soon from the home side's perspective. Sabi Lamucci again. He's got 2 subs warming up to the left-hand side.
I was going to say, but are they? I haven't seen them moving about 5 minutes.
Standing hands on hips, aren't they?
Yeah, so you want to see a bit of enthusiasm from them. I don't know.
Work for the new head coach to do. Lots of thinking to do. And in the Championship, you don't get time to watch and wait and decide. Here comes Gibbs for West Brom. Good attacking position here. Trying to charge through the middle. Can he poke it through the middle? He has done to Edwards! Good save by Muric at the near post. Edwards going for his second, and this time the goalkeeper stood tall, and it's a West Bromwich Albion corner.
Oh, it's a wonderful release from Kieran Gibbs. I mean, he drives into the box. He's got the awareness, the presence of mind that he realises Edward is on the outside. Lovely little laugh. He's gone for the near post. Finally, Muric makes a save.
Rapturous applause for Phillips as he goes across to take the right-footed in-swinging corner, only the first of the game for West Brom. 2-1 ahead on TalkSport 2, your home of the EFL, live throughout the season with comprehensive coverage and commentaries you won't hear anywhere else. Phillips with a deep corner, goalkeeper flaps on it, and Bartley was coming in again. Muric all at sea, and he got very lucky. It took a deflection on its way through. I think Dawson with the header for Nottingham Forest, and it's out for another West Brom corner.
Well, that's that movement I think I was saying about the goalkeeper. His footwork, his patterns, the flight of the ball, he just seems to misjudge everything, especially in the air. But you got to say, he did make a good save prior to that.
Muric all over the place with aerial balls, 6'6", but doesn't look comfortable. And Nottingham Forest, before this corner's taken, are going to make a change. One debutant for another. Thiago Silva comes off to belated applause, and Rafa Mir, who's on loan from Wolverhampton Wanderers, a Spaniard, 6'3", broad shoulders, comes on, and his first task will be to aid with the defensive effort at this corner.
Well, he faded badly, didn't he? Thiago Silva started ever so well, but I think that was a change they needed to make.
Over an hour gone. Phillips this time holds one arm aloft, right-footed, out-swinging and low to the edge of the area. It's driven in by Semi Ajayi. It takes a big deflection and again loops over for another corner, but West Brom piling on the pressure here at the Bridgeford end. Nottingham Forest have everybody back behind the ball, and they're clinging on in this match.
Well, it's straight off the training ground, that one. Trying to get a block on. Little cut-back corner for Sawyers. It's finished though, it's just blocked, but it's gone out for another corner.
Very impressive West Brom since conceding that opening goal. Feels a long time ago. Phillips with the delivery. It's miscued. It's struck low. It's blocked. It's come out to Krovinovic on the edge of the area, and he smacks it high into the lower tier. And again, it's another opportunity for West Brom, who are going to make a change themselves in just a moment. In fact, they're going to make it now. And Oliver Burke, who is a former Nottingham Forest player and boos from some of the home supporters, he's going to take to the field. Is Oliver Burke, who used to play in RB Leipzig in Germany but joined West Brom for £15 million in 2017, and there is some applause for Burke now as he takes the field in place of Kenneth Zohore.
Well, there won't be a quicker player out on that pitch than Oliver Burke. He is absolutely lightning. Just getting the ball, knock it over the top, make him chase it. He will cause havoc now.
Hasn't quite been a success at West Bromwich Albion, at least not in the way that he would want to. In fact, he's not scored a league goal for the club. Anyway, here come Nottingham Forest, 2-1 down as Rafa Mir gets the ball midway inside West Brom territory. White boots, a little slow on the uptake perhaps, as he's dispossessed by the excellent Phillips, who then, under pressure from Rafa Mir, has inadvertently dribbled the ball out of play.
I agree with Burke in terms of it hasn't worked out well really since he's left Forest, has it? But
yeah,
he did brilliantly up in Scotland, and I think he's got a lot of attributes. He's just trying to get his head right. I think that's the big problem.
Long throw from Robinson up towards Graben, headed away and then hooked deep downfield by Edwards, high into the sunny early evening sky. Beautiful evening in Nottingham, but not a good evening on the field for Nottingham Forest, at least thus far. Nearly 20 minutes into the second half, and they trail West Bromwich Albion by 2-1. Both league meetings, by the way, last season ended in draws.
Now that substitution has seen a change in formation. Forest now playing with a front two. Big Rafa Mir, he's tall, isn't he? He must be a good 6'3". something like that, similar size to the centre-half, so you'd imagine they'd be playing a little bit more direct. They don't really want to be wasting time here at the back. Got to get it forward up to him.
Long it goes from Muric, hammered high down the middle, up towards Adoma. Good header clear by Ferguson. The loose ball drops to Robinson, who shapes to charge forward the former Liverpool trainee. Just shifts it left to Adoma. He's not coming forward at any great pace. Reaches the byline, tries a cross, and it's a Forest corner at the Trent end of the ground.
Well, how well has he done again, Ferguson? This time it's Adoma taking him on. The wingers changed again. How many times have we said that? But still he gets touch tight, prevents the cross coming in, and that is so good. That's what you want from your fullbacks. It just stops the danger at source.
Adoma takes the corner short to Lolly. Barely a trickle of applause when Forest won that corner. Adoma's on the corner of the area now, swings it in deep to the far post. Good header away by Carl Bartley again, and now Robinson has to retreat towards the halfway line, where he plays it back to Cash, and Cash arcs a high crossfield ball out to the far side, where it's neatly chested down by Rafa Mir, and now Nottingham Forest can come forward again. Watson, who's been pretty anonymous in this second half, into the centre circle for Robinson, wide further left to Lolly. West Brom have everyone back behind the ball in their canary yellow and green, and very disciplined defensively thus far. Nottingham Forest have to prize them open. They have to show more ingenuity, they have to show more creativity, and maybe they have to be patient. Or are they going to bypass that and go the direct route? They've certainly, as David said, got the players to do so, you would think. TalkSport 2 as Adoma wriggles away from Gibbs and then goes down and wins a throw midway inside the West Brom half. In fact, has the referee given a free kick? No, it is a foul for Robinson right in front of one of those television cameras.
Well, that was generous, because to me Adoma's allowed that to run out of play, and this is going to come straight in the box. Robinson got a really long throw. He can reach the 6-yard box.
Lots of height in this Nottingham Forest side. Long throw from Robinson up towards Rafa Mir. Good commanding header away by Ajay. Comes out to Lolly. He's dispossessed. Watson's there to the loose ball, and he feeds it back to Dawson, who's midway inside his own half. You just wonder, with Nottingham Forest, more than 30 players in the squad, it's hard to gel everybody together. 8 new signings over the summer. Of course, they haven't all started today. They're not all going to play today. But just wonder whether that's a lot for Lamucci to deal with. Adoma floated across the far post, headed behind by Bartley. Another Nottingham Forest corner.
Oh, that's more like it. What a diagonal from Dawson all the way out here to the left-hand side to Adoma with a perfect touch. First touch just cushions the ball. It just means Ferguson can't get tight enough. That's what you need to do. Move the ball much, much quicker. It allows your players more time on the ball. Then he put in a really good cross. Headed clear brilliantly, though.
Had over 65 minutes. Come on, you Reds, the chant from the Trent end. In by Lolly, up goes Semedo. Headed away by Bartley once again. Burke doesn't let it bounce. Hacks it clear for West Bromwich Albion. Out towards the near side, the left. Again, Slaven Bilic bent double as he watches from the base of the main stand just in front of us. Crossfield ball by Robinson. Good covering by Gibbs to get it away. And West Brom will be really dangerous on the counter-attack, because at the moment, Forest, when they go forward, are committing lots of players upfield. As Muric, the goalkeeper, clears, and Ferguson, the right back for West Brom, heads it away. It drops to Watson, who takes it in his stride, the former Wigan Athletic player. Now Semedo, 30 yards from goal. Square to Rafa Mir, who skips away from the challenge of Sawyers and knocks it wide left to Adoma. On to Rafa Mir again. Can he reach it? The Wolves' low knee. He can't, and it's a goal kick.
Well, he's at lively, Rafa Mir, but to me he's spending too much time outside the box. Try to play the ball to Adoma, then go on the run on the inside, but the return pass was so poor from Adoma. Over here, and there's a few players stretching off a bit of cramp from the Forest players.
Gibbs, the West Brom left back, has a problem here. You are listening to Nottingham Forest against West Bromwich Albion in the EFL on TalkSport 2 with Screwfix. For the latest offers, visit your local store or visit screwfix.com. Here when you need us. And I have to say, David Connolly, as the play continues to be stopped, Gibbs is receiving some treatment here, and it's very hot still, thick heat, floodlights on. The Forest fixtures don't get any easier. If they lose this weekend, Leeds away next week, live on TalkSport 2, then an EFL Cup game against Fleetwood, but then Birmingham at home, who did well today, and then Charlton and Fulham to come as well. It's a baptism of fire for Sabri Lamucci, potentially.
It really is. That's what we were saying at half-time. Talking to Russ, it's a big half-time team talk. They had to improve, come out, all guns blazing. We just haven't seen that. No real change. Although there might be a change now. I think Samuel Amiobi's coming on. It's another attacking change, which is good to see. But
surely not before time.
no, they've just got a few issues. I mean, they don't move the ball that quickly. They're a bit slow and ponderous. They lack athleticism and pace. It's only really maybe a Doma that's got out-and-out pace to get in behind.
Amiobi, another athletic 6-footer. Stripped and ready to go in the red and white of Nottingham Forest. Johnston hammers the goal kick high downfield for West Brom. We lead by 2-1. There's just over 20 minutes to go on TalkSport 2 here. The pitch is covered in shade now as Burke retreats back to the centre circle, the former Forest player, and now it's forward from Ajay up to Sawyers, and West Brom themselves are going to make another change in just a few moments. In fact, they're temporarily down to 10 men here, West Brom, because Gibbs is going to have to come off with injury, and they're going to bring on Connor Townsend in just a few moments as Gibbs trundles off the field. So now can Nottingham Forest make the most of their man advantage? No real atmosphere or energy in the stands at the City Ground. A feeling of disappointment. It's very flat as Adoma tries to wriggle past Ferguson, who again gets the better of a player who is 13 years his senior and drives the ball high and long and deep over the halfway line.
Well, he's been the best player on the pitch to me. Young Ferguson, Nathan Ferguson, out here on this right-hand side. He's done brilliantly. Another really good pass into midfield, just gets him out of trouble, but defensively he's been outstanding.
West Brom looks streetwise, organised, the patterns of play are impressive, as Edwards almost gets caught in possession on the left-hand side, but he manages to regain it. Now Kravinovic turns away. Still down to 10 men here, West Brom, but they're coming forward. Edwards down the left-hand side, he continued his run, and Kravinovic is forward once again as well. Edwards shaped to go to alone, he was tackled. Comes out to Sawyers, he smacks it off the back of Watson. And Lolly will have to keep it in play in the right full-back position, and he's won a throw.
Well, they're now kicking into their fans, the Baggies. It's been a sparkling, really bright performance here. They started slowly, maybe to be expected, I guess. You are the away side, but they've been superior, really, after the first 10 minutes.
So
Really
less than 20 minutes to go. Confirmation of the change for Nottingham Forest as Amiobi comes on. It's Lolly who's coming off for Nottingham Forest. So Sammy Amiobi makes his debut for the club, the former Bolton and Newcastle player. And for West Brom, Gibbs has gone off injured, and Connor Townsend is on to replace him. So Nottingham Forest running out of options and running out of time on the first Saturday of the EFL season. Live on TalkSport 2, they trail by 2-1. And the massed ranks of home supporters who have packed out the City Ground, many of them, thousands wearing their red shirts, at the moment are in danger of going home disappointed.
Well, they are, and as you said, the fans are flat, but I think that's because the performance on the pitch is flat. They've got to spark the fans off. They did that in the opening stages, but they've faded really badly since.
Still Sabri Lamucci, statuesque on the edge of his technical area with his hands on his hips. A busy day in the Championship. Wins for Charlton, Sheffield Wednesday, QPR, Swansea, Wigan, Millwall and Barnsley. And Birmingham, as we brought you live on TalkSport 2 at Brentford. We also brought you commentary of Salford's first match in the EFL, a victory over Stevenage. Here come West Brom, leading 2-1. Edwards is on the left-hand side in front of the Baggies fans. He knocks it back to Townsend. The first touch for the man in black boots, his shirt hanging untucked. Edwards diminutive and so full of creativity and trickery. Plays it back to Townsend again. Townsend shapes in field. He's tried to find Livermore. It's cut out this time by Worrell. Back out wide though to Edwards again. He's ubiquitous down that left-hand side. He cuts it onto his right foot. He's thinking about going for goal here. Lays it back instead to Sawyers, and Sawyers has got a sea of red in front of him. But now it's Townsend with time and space to cross. It hangs in the air, and Robinson will just let it run across his body in the left-back position, and will knock it forward to Semedo for Nottingham Forest. But Forest are so passive in this second half. Amiobi, good back heel to Semedo though. Semedo darts away from Sawyers, space to move into. Couple of fans stand up in front of us as Adoma receives the ball on the right hand channel. Can he hang up across? He does. Graben's there, and it's dropped to the far post where Amiobi was waiting. It's gone behind for a Nottingham Forest corner.
Oh, that's much better. The fans are on their feet, as you say. Can they make this count though? Semedo, good little burst through the midfield, got the ball out wide to Adoma, good ball into the box. Didn't quite fall for them though, but they've got the side of corner.
So much hype about Nottingham Forest this summer in these parts south of the Trent. No Premier League football here for 20 years. Cash has come across to take the corner. They've got 15 minutes plus stoppage time to find themselves an equaliser. Cash, right-footed into the 6-yard box. Good header away by Ajay. And Cash will get another opportunity from this near side of the field.
You're right, it was a terrific header. I mean, look at the Baggies defenders there. There's 3 of them all along the 6-yard line. Really tall, high, just hoping the ball falls on them. It's a zonal system.
In swinging from Cash again to the far post. Good header away by Bartley this time. Excellent defending from West Brom, as Edwards tries to turn away from Rafa Mir and launch a counter-attack. They've got to be careful they don't overplay here, West Brom, but they haven't.
Well, you can when you Romain Sawyers. I mean, how good was that? What a little turn to get out of trouble.
Great story, Romain Sawyers, because he did start his career at West Brom. He played at every level, bar the first team, and he was talking this week about how excited he is to make what is his full debut for the club.
Absolutely incredible. I mean, obviously had a drop down, didn't he, to Walsall with Dean Smith, and then obviously went to Brentford. I mean, you know, he's been a terrific player for Brentford for a number of seasons now. I think he's an absolute steal. I really do. What was he, 3 million, something like that?
Yeah.
I've watched him closely, and he's got the lot. How calm there. I mean, you were just saying it's so tight. Are they going to get into trouble? Little Cruyff turn, little outside of the route pass, bang. The rest of the team are away.
Hey, what do I know? Former
you know a lot.
Sunderland and West Ham striker David Conley is the kindest co-commentator that I work with.
But I guess you're calling the action, but I'm obviously looking in depth at these players. I've seen so much of them, you know, and do really appreciate that. That'll go unnoticed by a lot of, you know, people watching the game, but that calmness in possession, because someone else will get the glory and run up the pitch and make something happen, but he makes it tick in there.
Only 27 Sawyers as well. Lots, maybe his best years still to come. Semedo charging through the middle of pace for Nottingham Forest, up to the edge of the D. It's a terrific run. He shoots right-footed just over the bar. Terrific run from Alpha Semedo, and that has some of the Nottingham Forest fans on their feet. He surged forward. Livermore tried to tackle him. He slid in. Semedo almost lost his footing. Then he rifles the effort over the bar.
Oh, he's unlucky from Semedo. Just a shot. He's got to keep down again. How many times have we said that? A lot of opportunities not hitting the target. They'll have to improve their shooting.
You are listening to Talk Sport 2. Live football continues tomorrow on this station. Bristol City against Leeds United at 4:30. The Community Shield is on Talk Sport. And then on Monday night, we at Talk Sport 2 are at Huddersfield for their game against Derby. Watson for Forest, tries to play it to the left, and Rafa Mir, well cut out by Ferguson again, and he was bundled over by the Spaniard. And West Brom have a free kick in the right back position, and there in Nathan Ferguson is a player that has performed beyond his years.
Yeah, he has, you're right. It's a really good performance. And just looking at them, look, they're 2-1 up, they're away from home, and they're still bold and brave. They're playing out, the 2 centre-halves are inside the box, the goalkeeper gives it to them. I don't think they were actually set up because Ferguson was actually facing his own goal, so he immediately got pressed. But still, they were bold, they were brave, and, you know, Billett's not going to hide away from that. Most teams at 2-1 up, Joe, would have probably just booted it long and played from there.
There was a composure, wasn't there?
Yeah.
2-1 West Brom. All the goals came in the first 26 minutes. Phillips and Edwards turning the game around for the away side after Cash's opener. 2 goalkeeping errors by the new Forest signing Ari Muric on loan from Manchester City. And West Brom have been a picture of composure in the second half, and which is interesting because I think the perception of the 2 squads was that West Brom's was the one that was more unfinished, but they've been far more streetwise, particularly in this second half. Here goes Ferguson, surging through the middle. What a run this is from the halfway line for Ferguson. He's reached the edge of the D. He goes left to Edwards. Edwards takes a touch on his left foot, just checks back, finds Burke. Burke against his former side, the ex-Forest player. He's got Sawyers just behind him, and Sawyers will curve the ball along the ground out to the near side, and Phillips. Burke in the middle, Phillips with the cross, and it's another West Brom corner.
Well, it's going to be tight now. Ferguson and Sawyers, who's going to be man of the match? What a burst through the middle that was from Ferguson. Just laid it off perfectly as well. Really mature performance. So many good performances here. Ajay as well at the back. I mean, he's again another really good signing. It was fantastic for Rotherham. Someone was going to pick him up, and Luke Dowling and his team. I know Ian Pearce, my former teammate at West Ham, he's now the head of recruitment here. They've done some really good player signings. Excellent.
11 minutes to go. In by Phillips. Poor corner, headed away by a stooping Semedo at the near post. Didn't beat the first man. Townsend plays it square to Kravinovic, who is 10 yards inside opposition territory, sweeps the ball back to his goalkeeper Johnston, who's not had a save to make in the second half. I say 11 minutes plus stoppage time to go. You just wouldn't believe it, such is the atmosphere. But caught in possession, Livermore. Here comes Rapamir. To his left is Graben, who can be deadly. Plays it square towards Rapamir. Well cut out by Carl Bartley, who had to track back at great pace at the expense of a Nottingham Forest corner at the Trent end.
Well, I think Bilic has gone ballistic on the sideline. I don't know whether he was actually trying to make a sub there. The referee allowed play to continue, but he's not happy about something.
Well, it is another corner for Nottingham Forest. 8 now for the match. Bilic furious. No real noise levels as Cash drives it in right-footed up into the air from Ajay and out of the 18-yard box. Another good, powerful header, good height and distance from Ajay.
Yeah, but they've got to keep the ball away from him. They know that they've got those big zones. Keep it away from them.
Space for Doma, right-footed on the angle, high, deep to the far post. This time it's cleared by the head of Connor Townsend, and it drops out to the left where Kravinovic, he could have played Edwards in down the left if he kept it in, but he couldn't quite. Forest throw. Square from Watson, and now an opportunity for Cash in the area, just over, hit towards him by Amiobi, who was rather galloping forward ungainly, and he couldn't find Cash, and it's behind for a goal kick. And with 10 minutes to go, West Brom are going to make another change, and it's another young, exciting player, Rakeem Harper, who has come through the system here at West Brom. He's going to come on for the much more experienced Matty Phillips.
Well, it's interesting, he's taken Dwight Gale's shirt, hasn't he, Hakeem Harper, so obviously Gale isn't coming back, that's for sure.
They still need to add, don't they, West Brom, you get the sense. There's another injury on the far side, actually. I think it's Townsend who might have gone down with cramp. But the game has stopped. But there's still work to do. But how encouraged, David Connolly, will Slaven Bilic be by what he's seen across the first 81 minutes here?
I think he'll be buzzing with this performance. Away from home, showed real character to get back into the game. As we said last season, second highest points total, I think, behind Aston Villa from losing positions. So they've got some character in the club, that's for sure. They've added to it, I think, with some really, really good signings. Romain Sawyers, Ajay, excellent. And obviously they've still got that bit of quality there from the likes of Matty Phillips and Kieran Gibbs, superb. Best performances though probably been some of the youngsters. Nathan Ferguson, Carl Edwards. Standout player though, Romain Sawyers, hands down, absolutely superb.
Well, there are 27,532 here. It's just been announced over the loudspeaker. The vast majority, though, are desperately disappointed with what they're seeing. It's the 2,000 West Brom fans who will be dancing in the heat of the Nottingham night if they can, or they're not holding on here, if they can see this game out. Edwards is off the field for West Brom, receiving treatment for what looks like cramp. There are 8 minutes to go, and West Brom lead 2-1. And they are edging ever closer to an opening weekend victory. They were beaten by Bolton,
I think
this time last season.
Well, again though, Bilic is saying, why have we made the sub?
Well, Bartley's off the field as well, and now Bartley is back on, but it's West Brom playing with 10, and Bartley struggling here. Livermore. Edwards, though, still off the field. So West Brom playing with 10 players. Forest, of course, a full complement of 11, but look blunt. They just don't look like scoring. 2-1 behind in front of their own fans, with 8 minutes plus stoppage time to go. Here is Robinson down the left, forward to the lanky Amiobi, who is not necessarily the most adept mover, but he skips away from Phillips and plays it square to Watson. Still waiting to make that change, West Brom, as Worrell collects on the halfway line for Nottingham Forest in red and white, his red shirt untucked. Diagonal ball by Dawson down the left, a good ball for Cash, controls well, tries to drive in the cross, it thunders off the back of Townsend, out of play for a throw. West Brom is screaming for this substitution, and I think now they are going to be able to make it, and it is going to be Rakeem Harper who comes on, and Carl Edwards, who did pick up an injury, is off.
Well, that was a comedy of errors, to be honest. That took far too long. They should have been playing with 10 for that amount of time.
So we said Phillips was going to be the player to leave the field, but he's actually stayed on because of this injury, it would appear, to Carl Edwards. So West Brom have made their full complement of changes as the long throw comes in from Cash. It's dreadful. It's headed clear easily by Bartley. It was just looping up into the air, and it's meat and drink for a central defender like Bartley.
You're absolutely right. I mean, there's no invention, is there, Every corner's basically gone straight onto the 6-yard line where the big zonal defenders from West Brom are. Every long throw from Robinson is predictable. It's going in on the 6-yard box. Look, just get one of the big lumps in front. They'll head it clear, and they don't really try anything else. Haven't tried any sort of variation, which has been really disappointing.
The thoughts of the former EFL and Premier League striker David Connolly alongside me this evening. You're listening to Nottingham Forest against West Bromwich Albion in the EFL on TalkSport 2 with Screwfix, proud partners of the EFL, here when you need us. And West Brom in possession with Harper, bright blue boots on the right, and now it's Semedo's gone down for Nottingham Forest with cramp. It's afflicting everybody. The heat is still highly prevalent here. The sun starting to set. It's a gorgeous evening, but it's very warm. Conditions difficult. Semedo, I think, is in difficulty as he limps towards the near side. Here come Forest. Rapamir having intercepted a loose pass. He's charging forward. He's only got Graben in support. Rapamir on the edge of the area. Deflected shot. Goes behind for a corner.
Well, he's big, isn't he? Big, strong, quick. Just carried the ball up the pitch there. There was nothing else on. He was on his own, isolated. Just took the shot. Got a block, gone out for a corner. Now, can they do something a bit different here? Maybe go short. Try and drag some of these zonal players out, because every time they just put it straight on the money. Hasn't been a Forest player anywhere near it. Can they do something different?
5 minutes to go under the floodlights at the City Ground on the banks of the River Trent here. Nottingham Forest, it's been more like pre-season from them in this second period, especially with all the stoppages. Nobody's moving a muscle yet, though. It's not over yet. In from Cash, out swinging. Flick goalwards by Semedo, hacked away by Phillips. It's come back to Robinson. He's midway inside the West Brom half. Terrific ball for Cash, who pulls it back. Here's Dawson with a chance. Blocked. Great block it was as well. It's come out to Watson on the corner of the 18-yard area. Semedo's down in the West Brom penalty area with cramp again. Fed forward by Robinson, headed away by a J. Comes out to Joe Worrell, who strikes it well wide. And Semedo's surely going to have to come off here. And it really has gone. When you compare the opening 10 minutes to the rest of the match for Nottingham Forest, it really has gone from the sublime to the ridiculous.
Yeah, it's been a really disappointing performance, I've got to be honest. And look, the fans are flooding out here. Forest fans, seen enough. They have no real confidence that they're going to get back into this game.
In their 5s and their 6s they're leaving, and it's important because the owner, Evangelos Marinakis, is very ambitious. He wants a title challenge, he wants a place in the Premier League. The supporters who've signed up in their droves for season tickets want the same thing, and the pressure will intensify on the new head coach Lamucci, potentially, given their tough fixture list to come. Semedo's conceded a corner here, a corner to West Brom coming up, and I think he's about to be substituted because he's still limping.
Well, I just wondered, the golden rule is you don't do it at a corner. They defended a corner here. I mean, he's got good height, Semedo, so they'll probably want to keep him on for this, but yeah, he does look like he's struggling.
6'2" Semedo. They're going to bring on a youngster, Nottingham Forest. Brennan Johnson is going to come on. They're without Joao Carvalho, who was their club record signing last summer. He is still nursing an ankle problem. Phillips to take the corner for West Brom. 2-1 in front. High to the far post. Up towards Bartley, and the referee spotted an infringement. And it's a free kick to Nottingham Forest, who have been utterly ponderous and inept in the second period. There's no other word for it. As this change is made, and Alpha Semedo has shown some promise. 1 or 2 long-busting runs from the middle third to the final third, but much like his teammates, consistently inconsistent throughout the game, as Brennan Johnson, the youngster who's come up through the youth system here, comes on. And not long left for Nottingham Forest. Johnson wearing the number 40 on the back of his red shirt as Adoma tries to turn away in the middle of the West Brom half. Watson floats it forward hopefully. The second half has been such a disappointment from a Forest perspective as Cash turns away. He's robbed of possession by Townsend, and maybe West Brom can come forward on the counter-attack here. They've not played it right though, and Nottingham Forest have it back. Worrell out to the near side, the left, and Robinson. 1 or 2, as David Conley mentioned, heading out of the City Ground now. As Amiobi chases the ball down the left touchline, scooped up into the air by a J as I look behind one of the pillars in this main stand. And Robinson will take the long throw right by one of those television cameras, and Dawson and Worrell have both come forward.
Well, now, can they do something different though? I mean, if they're expecting, I don't know, suddenly a Forest player to win it, I'm not so sure.
In it comes, high along the 6-yard line, easily dealt with again. Good header by Bartley once more. It's swept forward by Johnson, the youngster. Worrell's got it with his back to goal on the right-hand side. Finds Watson, high hanging cross. Amiobi's header is poor. It's going to dribble wide, and it's a goal kick to West Bromwich Albion.
Yeah, powder puff. A real powder puff finish from Amiobi. But again, you go back to the throw. I would maybe, fake to put it in the box, but actually then take it short and try and work a 2v1 and just disrupt that Baggies defence. Just hadn't been moved around enough. Just lumping it in there and hoping for something else. I mean, how many throws have they put in? Just every time it's just been cleared easily. A bit like the corners, yeah. No real invention or creativity, nothing different.
New head coach. Same old.
Yeah,
Nottingham Forest.
Well, and look, the formation is still the same. I thought they'd sort of played more with those two strikers, but really it's one up and one off. So
long from Dawson over the top, and Townsend's got to watch this carefully because Graben, who got 17 goals last season, is trying to get in behind here, but Townsend has done well. He's seen the ball out of play using his strength, and we've got 15 seconds of normal time remaining before stoppage time. Nottingham Forest 1, West Bromwich Albion 2 on TalkSport 2, your home of the EFL. And a day that promised so much. I was wandering around the city centre before kick-off. There's 5 minutes of stoppage time. There's the statue of Brian Clough in the middle of Nottingham. Fans wearing their red shirts were full of energy and excitement, and that has gone away. Unless Forest can find a late equaliser here. Into those 5 added minutes. Swept wide by Johnson, out to the far side, and it's brought down neatly by Cash. The overlapping run is from Amiobi. Cash goes in field and goes alone on his left foot, and he blazes it high into the Trent end.
Yeah, too many shots as well. Another one off target today. They need to work certainly on their finishing, their decision making. Too often now they're electing to shoot from too far out. Maybe they just can't, or they don't feel they have the belief to work the ball into the box with any real quality. I mean, Graben's been isolated. He's barely had a kick, hasn't he, all game? On his own, I think he needs a partner up there. The problem is then they have one less player in midfield. They don't really have the athleticism in there to get around the pitch, certainly not in the Championship.
All over the city ground, spectators are streaming away. A minute of the 5 played. Nottingham Forest haven't forced Sam Johnston into a single save in the second half as it's pummeled long again by Dawson. Hopefully more than anything. Across comes Townsend to clear in front of the leggy Albert Adoma. Adoma tries to take the throw quickly, but he's going to leave it here for Cash, and Worrell is coming forward. They've got to throw everything at this now, Nottingham Forest, but they've not done so with any gusto whatsoever.
Well, the two centre-halves are going up again, so obviously they're aiming for them, but they just haven't won one all game.
Here comes Cash, long towards the near post. Worrell goes up, Dawson goes up. They both get in a tangle of legs, and West Brom clear through Burke. Up towards halfway. And now Robinson takes possession inside the centre circle. He's hammered it against the West Brom man Harper. It almost fell for Kravinovic had he been a little more alert, but he wasn't. Deep ball by Cash into the area. Graben climbing far post. He heads it down, but he heads it straight to the goalkeeper. It's a simple save for Sam Johnston, and West Bromwich Albion just 3 minutes away from a first win of the season under their new head coach Slaven Bilic.
Yeah, they just haven't worked him enough. Sam Johnstone. Forest, the shooting's been poor, deliveries in the box just haven't been accurate enough. I mean, it's a very deep cross to Graben, almost impossible to score from there, too far out with a header. Plenty to work on here.
A second straight season of the Championship for West Brom, but they are sending an early message here on weekend 1 that they can be contenders, even if they lost those goals from Rodriguez and Gale that they had last season. Work to do in the transfer market maybe still for Slaven Bilic, but he'll be mightily impressed with what he's seen thus far. 2.5 minutes of stoppage time to go. There were boos from 1 or 2 Forest fans when Robinson, the left back, headed the ball tamely out of play, but they have now won a throw just shy of the halfway line. Slaven Bilic is a ball of energy down below us. He's got his shirt tucked into his trousers, but it's coming out of his trousers almost now because he's so enigmatic and he's gesturing to his players and he's kicking every ball. Long from Robinson for Forest with the throw. Good header clear by Ajayi again. He already looks an excellent acquisition as Ajayi clears once more, the ex-Rotherham man. It's come though to Rafa Mir, into the feet of Graben, back out to Amiobi, through the middle towards the substitute Johnson, and West Brom clear, and the last touch was that off Rafa Mir. Is it a goal kick? It is.
Getting that man Ferguson to the rescue. Looked like maybe Forrest was just going to get in on the outside of him, but no, he went to clear the ball and came off the play, and he's got a goal kick. There's been some really good performances from the Baggies. The players have done excellently. The fans, look, the Forest Well, they're so disappointed, but the Baggies fans are delighted.
The City ground is emptying. Forest fans, one I've just seen take his red and white scarf from around his neck, and he's trudging away. As West Brom come forward down the right with Phillips, he plays it up towards Burke, who's got there in front of Worrell. Can he keep it in play? He's going for the corner flag here, Burke, because there's just over a minute to go, and West Brom lead 2-1 on TalkSport 2, and they've got Forest where they want them, but Forest have cleared through Amiobi, high and deep. Agedajay's there, cushioned header straight out of play. This might be the last chance for Nottingham Forest. Sabri Lamucci trying to urge his charges forward. Robinson goes long down the left touchline. Grabban will do well to keep this in play, and he's not done so. It's a goal kick, and all around the City ground you can almost hear the collective sighs as people get up from their red seats and head out into the Nottinghamshire evening. It's just not been their night.
Well, it hasn't, but to be honest, a lot of it's down to their own errors and mistakes and poor play. Again, I mean, they could have worked something short there. Robinson, he's almost on the halfway line, just decides to chuck it down the line, more in hope than anything. Almost impossible for Grabban to keep in.
And West Bromwich Albion supporters are chanting the name of their Croatian manager en masse. All 2,000 up on their feet. Dawson, we've had the 5 minutes of stoppage time, long for Nottingham Forest, and the final whistle blows. A fist pump from Slaven Bilic, and West Bromwich Albion have started life under their new head coach with a victory in the Championship, having lost out in the playoff semi-finals last season, aiming to go one better this campaign, and they are off to the perfect start in 2019-2020 live on TalkSport 2 for Nottingham Forest and their new boss Sabri Lamucci. New head coach, same old problems. They went ahead early on through Matty Cash, but they were soon pegged back. 2 goalkeeping errors by Ari Muric on loan from Manchester City. Edwards and Phillips capitalising for West Brom, and it's an excellent victory for the Baggies to start the campaign. It has finished here live on TalkSport 2. Nottingham Forest 1, West Bromwich Albion 2.